Hi everybody, this is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. I've got a few minutes today and I wanted to show you what my next project is going to be. I'm always getting myself into things. Some things aren't finished yet and yet I'm starting something else. But it's something I've been wanting to do and I need to do it while my grandkids can kind of have fun and enjoy it before real cold weather gets here. On the back of my trailer, I have these two set of steps. This is what came with the trailer, and you have to sign this release form when you're buying the trailer saying that these steps aren't meant to be permanent. They don't say they're rickety, but they say they're temporary and they only recommend you use them for like 90 days. Well, we used them a good bit when we were moving in and setting up, but I don't use them at all anymore. As a matter of fact, you can see that this set is to my back door, which I actually don't go in and out of hardly ever anymore. This set is just sitting here loose. It's not doing anything, it's just sitting there. They have metal frames on them, so they're heavy. And I had thought, what could I do with these? Or should I just spend money and strengthen them up really good and use them? But I don't want to do that either, because if you look here, you can see how far down this first step is from my actual door. When you walk out this door, you have to step down a whole foot to get to this first step, which is kind of rickety, and then these steps going down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something maybe unusual that other people might not have thought of, but it'll work for me. I'm actually going to take both sets of steps and we're going to drag them across the yard to right out into this area over here. And I'm going to make my grandkids a fort. My husband kind of has his little golf cart trail, comes along the back of our property. He'll ride down this little trail he's made by just riding so much. He'll come down here on the golf cart and head up to the front of the property. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these two sets of steps right over here, just off the side of his path. And I'm actually going to turn them to where the backside of each step are facing each other. I'm not going to butt them right up to each other, but the backsides would be facing each other. So what would happen was the grandkids could come up the steps of one set of steps. I'm going to build a little landing between them, or that it'll encompass that top step of both of them and make a landing, and then they could come down the bottom steps. But while they're up on that landing, they're a little bit off the ground. I don't think it's high enough to really worry about, though I'm probably going to put some wood chips under it and all just in case. But it's just high enough though to where they can feel like they're in a ship or they could feel like they could play whatever they wanted to. They could get up on top of it and pretend they're soldiers and they're at war, or they could play cowboys and Indians or whatever. Just give them a little bit of area up higher, and then the steps would be sitting on the ground here, but it would give you an entrance, a little platform, and then an exit. And each kid would have kind of their own little set of steps if they wanted to go up and down. I just think it would be cute. I have in my mind how I want to do it. I actually have in my mind having some posts going up to where I could even put a little covering on it if I want to. It's all in my mind right now, but you got to start somewhere. All I know is these two steps right here to me are hideous. And when our neighbors come down the road, they can see the back of our house, and I just feel like this looks terrible. I finally got this porch built last fall over here after living here a year with no porch. We have loved it. My grandkids go in and out of that sliding door. It's just nice. It's very, very nice to have that. I love it. Got my little plants up there. So what this is going to do is motivate me to go ahead and build a little porch here. I don't need a porch like that one is. That's an 8 by 10. It comes out 8 feet from the house and it's 10 foot long. Over here, I think I just need a little 4 foot by 4 foot stoop. And the reason I'm saying 4 foot by 4 foot is so I can buy 8 foot boards and just simply cut them in half. 8 foot boards will fit in my car. I can make several trips and get what I need in my car without having to do anything weird or getting a delivery or anything. And I can fit them in my car, and it just makes more sense to not worry about having a big porch over here. This would simply be an emergency exit, or it would be an exit that would be easy to come out of and go feed the dogs. I might start using that door more if I had a nice porch here, but who wants to walk out and step a foot down onto this, especially in cold weather when you're not sure if it's icy or whatever, or morning dew or whatever. So I just want to get rid of these things, but I don't want to waste these nice metal frames or anything. So I'll be revealing as I go my thoughts and my plans on all this, based on the fact also that it's lightweight children that are going to be on these things. It's not big, heavy adults that are going to be going up and down this thing. And so I think with the way it's built now, it does have 2x for all these steps. And then the way I'm going to strengthen it and secure everything, I think it's going to work out fine. There's other things I probably should be doing right now. I'll need to finish that fence, and I do have some more things to do in my yard. But with the yard, I'm just setting myself a goal of getting something done every day, and I'm just going to stay on that track. I'm not going to worry about if it all gets done at once. And I am doing things every day. Yesterday, I got a lot done. I'm feeling a lot better about my yard just after 2 or 3 days. So I feel okay with that. But with this, the boys come over a lot. They come over here a lot, and I feel like this would give them the perfect little thing to do so that Mama doesn't have to be so hands-on all the time. Where I decided to put this is right outside my kitchen window, you know, eyesight-wise. It's across the yard a little bit, but it's right outside my big kitchen window. I can stand in there, wash dishes, and do things, and cook, and have an eye on them. We could leave the screen door unlocked or open. I could leave my windows in my kitchen open. I can hear them. I can talk to them. It's perfect. It works out perfect. I think for their little minds, their little explorative minds that are just so curious about everything, and they love playing and they love just going at it all the time. I think this will give them something to remember. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on it. It's really not going to take a whole lot of boards. I will have to buy a few stepping stones to kind of set some bottom bracing on, because I don't want it sitting on the ground. But it's really not going to cost a whole lot. These steps are where it's at. I mean, the frame of it's already pretty much in place. I just have to kind of build it out to make it stable and safe. And I think I can do that. And the boys will be happy. And then they'd have all this fall to play with it going into the winter time. And then it'll be here for them the next spring. So to me, it's just as important a project as finishing a couple of these other things, because they'll get a lot of use out of it and they'll just enjoy it. I want to make them happy. I told them about it this morning, and I kind of told them next time they come, I'd try to have it done. So I'm pushing myself now to get this done. I've never really known how tall these things were. Whew. Trying to do this with one hand and film. Looks like they're about 39.5 inches tall, not quite a half. And I'll be putting another 2x on top of these. So I need to add that 1.5 inches in there. So about 41 inches from the top where they'll be stepping to the ground. And so that gives me an idea. I'm going to go in tonight and I'm going to kind of mock up everything and make a sketch. I like knowing exactly how much lumber I need. I don't like to kind of overestimate too much, but I also have lumber out under my shed over there, and I could probably incorporate some of that into this. So I need to kind of take an inventory of that as well. Okay, we've got them set up back there. I always tell y'all that my yard has a lot of concrete buried in it and that my yard always gives me little gifts. I always find things buried in my yard. Well, I saw a little bit of a piece of concrete sticking up out of the ground here, but it was sticking up like a point. And I didn't want the boys to be able to jump off of this thing and land on a piece of concrete. And so I told my granddaughter, I said, let me dig that up really quick and we'll go throw it in the pile. Well, what I dug up was actually what I was gonna go purchase at the store. It's like a 4-inch tall, 8-inch wide by 16-inch long paver. That's exactly what I was gonna go buy. So now instead of buying 4, I just need one there, one at that corner, and one at that corner. To me, that's just like a little gift. I thought I was just digging up a little chunk of concrete, and there it is, a big old paver. So I'm happy. But you can kind of see what I'm getting at here. I'm gonna start on this edge of the top step and come straight across to that edge of the top step with a 2x. And I need to, you know what, I need to measure that and make sure I've got it squished enough to where 8 foot, it's not gonna be over 8 foot, but I don't think it is. But anyway, I'll start at the other side that has the railings and I'll work this way. So if I end up with 1.5 inches hanging over or something, no big deal. Well, everybody, it's been a week since I made that little video saying I was fixing to build my grandkids a fort. I'm actually starting to work on it today, but of course, after no rain since Hurricane Francine, today it's decided to be really overcast, and every now and then I'm feeling a little bit of mist on me. And I'm using an electric drill, and I'm gonna have my miter saw out, so I need to really work while I can, while it's not raining, not worry about filming a whole lot, and just get this done. I wanna show you the basics of what I'm doing. I'm gonna try to make it quick because I really wanna get to work, and the phone may be just off a lot of the time, but I'll show you the ending, or I'll show you phases in between when I can film, but this is what I'm doing. This is basically the idea here. I could not remember what I filmed a week ago, so I just want to show you where I'm at right now, and I'm gonna rock and roll with it. But I backed these 2 steps up to each other. My granddaughter and I did this the other day. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use the whole 8 foot length of the boards to span this. So I just started with a 2x4 on this side, just going by the measurements and all I was using. And I screwed it down. And then now I'm fixing to go do the wider board, and I'm gonna work out from there. And I'm gonna have a little bit of an overhang, but that's okay, I don't mind that. Anyway, let me get to rocking and rolling and getting this done, and then I'll talk in a little bit. It's gonna basically be a platform. It's not gonna be a fort, like with all kind of walls and stuff. I'm using these stairs, they can go up, they can play on the platform, and they can run down all at different times. I'm gonna have railings up here so they're safe, and it'll make it where they can kind of hang their legs off and shoot their guns and stuff like that. I was telling them the other day when they were here, they were wanting to know, was it ready yet? And I said, no, Mama hadn't got it ready yet. But they can hang their feet off. They can pretend they're on ships and boats and just, you know, gunneries or whatever they want to play with, and just have a little space in our yard for them to go. I got my boards. I actually have extra boards because I was going to do it one way and I decided to just do it another way. So I do have a few extra boards, but that's all right. I'm going to use what I have, and we're going to rock and roll and get this done. If I have any extra boards, I'm just going to work them in to my stoop for my back porch. Due to time, I didn't go ahead and do a product list for my back porch and go ahead and get it all at once. I was going to get it all at once, get the porch stuff with this stuff, and have the company deliver it. But my son's truck was available the other day, and I said, can I borrow it and just run, at least get the stuff for the boys' fort and go ahead and get this done? And he was here and stuff, so he said, yeah, go ahead. So I just did that. I'll worry about the porch later. You have to just do what you got to do when you can do it. Let me get all this going, and I'll show you the progress as I go. I'm breaking back in to point something out. I ordered the wrong size boards. My fault. I can visually see myself telling the lady what I needed, and I ordered, I think, 2x12s, and I really wanted 2x8s. And I had enough room to put 1 2x4 and then 5 2x8s. And I started looking at this and I'm like, what have I done? So I ordered the wrong size boards. So I'm all about today making as little cuts as possible, and that's what I'm going to do. So what I ended up doing was using 3 of the 2x12s, and I'm going to have another 2x4 stuck in here. It's going to cause a little bit of an overhang, but I had planned for a little overhang anyway, so that works out fine. So it's just an odd little construction here. But my goal with this is to use the full 8-foot length of these boards. I'm gonna butt them up on this end. I'm gonna make this end be exactly even with this board here. And I'm gonna make these boards be exactly even. And then when it gets down here to this end, because boards aren't always cut exactly what you think they are. So when it gets down here to this end, whatever's left over, I'm just gonna use my skill saw to run it across there one time and just cut those off. I'm trying to not have to drag my miter saw out right now, just in case the rain does start. I'll be able to gauge by the time I get all these screwed down as to whether I'm looking at rain or not. I'll stop and look at the radar. But right now, I just want to get these screwed down, get my little basic thing done, and then from there, I'll see what the weather's doing and I'll see whether I want to get my miter saw out. We're just gonna rock and roll right now. Okay, I got the deck done. It's 8 foot long, and these steps are 40 inches wide. So with my little hangover, it's about 41.5. So if you take 41.5 inches times 8 foot, whatever that comes out to be, I don't know, 28 square feet or something. That's how much little play area they have up here, which isn't that bad. You know, they can do a lot up there with 28 square feet. So I'm gonna sand it later. I'm the kind of person that likes to sand things before I screw them on there and get the whole board sanded, top and bottom and everything. But that's not happening. Due to the weather and the threat of rain, I'm just rocking and rolling, and I'll come back later and I'll take all these little tags off because they have staples under them, which can scratch a kid's leg. So I'll take all that off later and just kind of come back over it in the end. So it's getting going. And when things start kind of coming together and what's in your brain starts coming out in real life, and you can start kind of seeing what you were visualizing all this time and that nobody knew what you were talking about, it's a good feeling. So these boards will shrink up a little bit as the sun gets on them, and as the chemicals dry out of them, they'll shrink up a little bit, and rain will be able to kind of go through those boards. Right now I have them pushed up kind of tight because I just wanted to get everything kind of even and tight, but they'll be able to shed some water once they shrink up in the heat and everything. So here I'm gonna keep on going. I'm just giving you a little update. Well, y'all, this whole video may seem a little chaotic, and that's because this whole entire build has been chaotic. Yesterday I got out here and I got rocking and rolling because I was worried about the rain. Well, it started not raining, it just started dripping, just misting and dripping from the sky, which would be fine. I could keep working if I was doing another project, but when I've got an electric drill plugged in and I've got a miter saw, it doesn't work to have it out here in drippy rain. So I had to pick up everything and stop. I got back out here late yesterday evening. It was after 6 o'clock, but I was determined to finish. So I got the railings put on this. I'm gonna show it all to you in just a second. So I finished that before I went to bed last night. Left a little bit of junk out here, which I wanted to come out here this morning and pick up before I actually did a reveal. And I couldn't do a reveal last night anyway because it got too dark. But I also realized, look, when I say this build's been chaotic, it's been chaotic. I realized yesterday, and I even mentioned that I had to do my deck on this a little bit different because I had ordered the wrong size boards. Well, it wasn't that. I actually ordered the right size boards, I figured out. But I was ordering off the spec list that I had made for my back porch. And I hadn't finished that spec list. I had only written the 2x12s and the 2x4s. But I had crazily written it on the same piece of paper as my drawing for this thing, for this fort. So when I went to the hardware store, I was in a hurry because I only had access to my son's truck for just a little bit. And I wanted to get the boards and get on back and unload them so he could take his truck and go. I just stood there and ordered the boards where I had started my spec list for my back stoop out my back door, which was not the exact boards I needed for this. I actually had 1-bys and different things I wanted for this, and I ended up with no 1-bys in that pile. And the worst part was, it never even made any connection with me that I had done that until I started a week later building this. It never registered, and that's okay. My brain has been all over the place this week, worrying about everybody and all the affected areas from Helene, and really almost in a state of tears and stuff this week. So my brain has not been on this build. The only reason I'm finishing it was because a weekend was coming up and I didn't know if my grandkids were going to be coming by, and I wanted to get this thing finished so that they could actually see it and use it. Nobody really knows what's in your mind sometimes. You tell them what you're gonna do, but they really can't visualize it until it's done. So Momo needed to get this done. But as it worked out, the boards I ordered for the porch stoop worked out. It worked out. I ended up actually using every board that was laying there in that pile I showed you. And then I actually had to go borrow a couple of 2x4s that I had left over from my old porch build and use them out from under my shed. So it all worked out. God gave me everything I needed. I got it done. And now let me show you this little fort for the kids, and I'm hoping they'll enjoy it when they come over. One of them went down with strep yesterday. Sometimes when that happens, the other one goes down with the same thing. I'm hoping not, and they're not gonna be on it for a few days because of how they're feeling. So I'm getting it ready. I'm excited about it. And all I need to do is come back this afternoon and sand it and things like that and make it, safe for the kids to be running around on without getting a big piece of wood shimmed in their foot or something. So that's what I'm doing. Let me show it to you. Here's their fort. It's finished. I hope now maybe, because I know it can get confusing, but I hope now you're seeing my vision for this thing. It's basically just a platform above these steps. I'm gonna walk over here and just kind of show you what it looks like. As you're coming up the steps, you're walking up the steps, you come up to this big platform. Now they can use this for whatever they want. They can roll trucks off of it. They can do whatever they want. They can bring their lunch out here if they want to eat out here. But it's got 2 guardrails, one along this side, and it's shorter because the back of these steps has the other railings on it. The only thing is there's no cross rails on this metal part, but I may end up having to do something, but I'm hoping right now it'll be okay. And then I have this railing on this side. And when you're up here and you're playing and you're young, I'm just hoping you can imagine with me the things they could do up here and the things they could pretend. They're higher than the ground. There's my yard out there. They're higher than the ground. They could gather acorns. I have thousands of acorns all over this property. They could gather all that and throw acorns and do things. I don't know. I can just envision kids having a good time with their own little area. Mama and Papa aren't going to be up here with them all the time. Mom and Dad, this is their own little play area. Now, I have to think like a little boy while I'm doing this. And these railings were done for a specific reason. I did 2, and I did them kind of close together. They can sit down here. They can sit on the bottom, hang their legs off. I didn't want anything obstructing them being able to hang their legs off. They can put their arms over this one and have their little chest leaning against it or whatever while they're shooting their guns. This will be a perfect perch for them to sit there and shoot little guns off of and everything, or pretend they're fishing or whatever they want to do. I didn't want to just go with 1 railing. First of all, for safety's sake, I wanted 2. But I also know little boys. And if I had just put 1 railing along the middle, all that would have been was a catapult for them to hang on to while they hurled their body off the bottom part that was open and slung themselves down to the ground. That's what little boys would have done with 1 railing. So I definitely wanted to put up 2, but I didn't want to put the second one really high because I wanted them to have room to be able to see out of here and to hang their head and shoulders out to pretend they're shooting their guns and stuff. Can you visualize that? I think everybody that might have a son or a grandchild who's a son, it can be girls too, but I'm dealing with boys here, so I'm talking about boys. But anybody that has a little boy or has had a little boy in the past can understand that when they're shooting and all, they can just put themselves in the scene of whatever they're doing. So they can picture themselves shooting out of this thing as if they're in a battle or whatever. And so I just wanted to give them that way to do it by having this space between these bottom 2 and the top. But I also wanted them to be able to hang their legs over. So I think it worked out good. And I'm happy with how it came out. And then of course they can go down the other steps to get off of here and just run back and forth. This could be a bridge if they're playing something. They could pretend that this is the bridge they have to cross. I think they can use their imaginations and do all kind of things with this. What do you think? I wish I could kind of tell you what this cost, but it's hard to really describe. Obviously, I had the steps. I had these 2 sets of metal frame steps from our trailer build. And so that's what I was trying to accomplish with this. If you didn't have something like these steps to use as a base, you would have probably needed a whole lot more wood to build some type of little fort. Or you could have built it like into a tree branch or something like that, but that wasn't what I was doing. I had these steps, so that's what I was doing. And then I ordered the wrong wood, so I paid for 2x12s, which I only ended up needing 3, but I bought 5. So I have 2 over there in my pile that I'll use on something else. Well, I'll use them on that little porch build when I do it. So that'll give me 2 less I have to buy for that. And then I bought all 2x4s for this, which was not really what I was going to spend for these railings, like these middle 2 railings and all. I was only going to use 1-bys for those. I'm kind of glad it went with 2x4s. I'm kind of glad it happened the way it did, because I think the 2x4s are safer and they're more sturdy, because this span right here has no vertical board, so they're just spanned out there. Same on the other side, but on the other side they do have this end post on either end, so they're able to be attached here and here. So this middle part is not really as flexible as it would have been, but this part over here has nothing in the middle. So I think the 1-bys might not have been the best option. So let me just say this. The boards I bought, which were not really the right boards, but they were, you know, it's what I had, was $220. But that also included the concrete pieces down here. 1, 2, 3. I bought 3 of those. And I found this one the other day, as I told you, so I already had one of those. So I only had to buy 3. So anyway, I have the 3 here. And so I bought those 3, and then all this lumber, 2 pieces of the 2x12s I have left over under my porch, but it was $220. Don't really want to always run out and spend $220 just for something kids to play on, but I feel like in the end, for the size fort they ended up getting, it wasn't a bad deal. It would have been a lot more expensive for me to build them a clubhouse with some type of roof on it, or windows in it, or anything like that. So this right here is all they need. Trust me, this is all they need. And I placed it here in my backyard where it's going to get a lot of shade. They're not going to be out in the sun burning up. These boards are not going to be scalding hot when they run outside to play on them. So that'll be good. And my trees, it's hard to tell because you're just looking up at trees right now, but I actually placed it in a spot that has the least amount of debris that falls. I get a lot of limbs that fall all back here out of these trees, especially after the hurricane. Me and the boys actually picked up a bunch of them the other day from the hurricane, and we went and put them in the burn pile. But all back here, I get tons of debris. But this spot kind of out in the middle is on the outer edge of some of these tree branches, and I don't get a lot of debris. And I really didn't want to put it in a place where a big limb could fall on them on accident or something. So I kind of wanted to place it as far out as I could, as far this way. And I feel like this spot is just kind of in the sweet spot. They'll have some shade, but they're not really in any danger from big limbs falling on them. So that's my thought process as a mama doing all this. I enjoyed building this, even though I kind of rushed it through because of time reasons and because of rain reasons and because of just kind of wanting to get it done. I was a lot more excited about it when I first conceived it, but now I just kind of wanted to get it done because my mind has been on a lot of other things. But I had committed to this. I had told the kids about it, showed them the steps I had pulled out here, and I just wanted to kind of get it finished. So I got that done. I'm gonna move on now to other things that are gonna be more for my property. This will help me out though, even though it's not for my property, because when they come over, I don't have to necessarily always be right on top of them, keeping up with them. They're 3 and 5 right now, but they're getting bigger, they're getting stronger. They need some boy things to do when they come over to Mama's. They love being up here. They would come every weekend if they could. And they love being up here. They love helping me with things. They love doing gardening with me. And this will give them their little spot that they can go that's right outside of my kitchen window. I can watch them while I'm cooking and washing dishes. It'll give them some independence. And it'll help me out to not have to always be hands-on with them as I am when we're in the front yard, which is toward the road and everything. I have to just, you know, always be on them. They're young and everything. You have to never take your eyes off of them really. But this will give me something I can do to go inside and get a couple things done in my kitchen, get supper started, while being able to watch every move they make out here. So it's in the perfect spot for that. It worked out good, and it'll help me out in the long run. But now on to other things. On to the sewer, on to fixing the fence, on to finishing everything with my gardening. I've been planting. Things are coming up right now, and I'm feeling a lot better about things than I was when it was so hot and so dry. This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. Thank y'all so much, and I hope everyone out there gets everything they need. Let me just say that. I hope everybody out there gets whatever they need to be safe and to be secure. Y'all have a great day. God bless you. Bye-bye.